In today's video, I'm going to be using some Arteza products, and I'm really excited to try these out. I mean, I've already tested this out a little bit, but I'm really excited to have this in my life. It is a journal, a watercolor journal, and the actual, I've already painted all the swatches, you can see. Anyway, this journal comes in a pack of 2, and there are 64 pages in each, so I'm really excited to fill up the page. This is going to be something that I'll take with me on vacation. It's just an easy way to store all of these little sketches and things that I want to do, so I'm really excited about this. The quality is 110 pound. Now, I don't recommend anything lower than 140 pound, so I know the quality isn't going to be there, but it's also a journal. So I'm going to let it slide because it's a journal. If it were single sheets or a pad or a block, I'd say go with the higher quality paper, but just the nature of what this is, it's totally fine. Now, this is their watercolor palette, comes with 36 colors, and I really like it. I mean, it's kind of large for a tin, but that may be good or bad depending on how you look at it. I actually like that there are a ton of colors to choose from. If you've seen my normal palette, you know that I like having a lot of colors to choose from. If you're just starting out and just learning, you may want to start with a limited palette just to help you get used to learning how to mix and everything. But I thought I would teach you how I paint my ruffled leaves. And I know that's something that's highly requested, so I hope you find this video helpful. I always start by just kind of painting the size of my leaf. And then I just go back in and add those extra textures afterward. Now you kind of want to work fast just because you want the paint to all blend together. Let me show you what happens if you wait. So we'll kind of let that dry for a second while I move on. Now another way you could do this is to kind of outline and then fill it in, but I find that takes too long. And I kind of like the organic nature of just letting my brush do the work rather than outlining and filling in, because I just think with loose watercolor flowers, you really just want to capture that feeling and movement of the flower rather than try and be super detailed. I mean, if you want to be super detailed, go for it. That's awesome. But me personally, I kind of like the organic nature of it. Okay, so this has kind of dried for a moment. I'm gonna go over the top, and you can see right here where that has already dried, and I've got this kind of overlap. Now this is fixable if I go over the center here, and then if I wait for this to dry a moment and then go over just the outside, not where it was overlapping, to kind of help that blend together. But you can see that I don't have any of that overlapping here. Just here where I waited for that to dry. So if you load up your paintbrush, you kind of form that shape and then you just go right in and finish it off. You won't have that problem. Now I'm going to do it one more time really slow so that you can kind of see what I'm doing, and I'll do it from another angle this time. So pulling inward this time. And you want the point of that brush to be the edge. And I'm just kind of overlapping the stroke that I made right before and pulling it back toward the center. So there you go. It's really not too bad. Now, I'm not just going to be painting these ruffled leaves. I want to use it in a wreath. So I'm going to let this dry for just a second, and then I'm going to turn the page and we're going to get going on a little wreath. Now, since this is a lower quality paper, it kind of tends to dry a little bit faster than a higher quality paper. So we're just going to turn the page here. Now for a wreath, I like to have a little bit of a guideline to work with. I'm just going to work with some really watered down paint, and I'm just going to paint a circle here. Now this is going to be covered up once I start adding in my leaves, but it's here so that I make sure that I'm kind of hitting where I need to. I'm not going to end up with a wreath that starts out really nice and then kind of angles off in a weird way. It's happened to me several times, so this is what I choose to do to help rein that in a little bit. So I'm going to be painting a bunch of textured leaves around here using that same technique that I showed you before. Now it's key that as you add in your leaf or your edges to your leaf, that the tip of the brush is along the top part of where you want your leaf to be, because then your kind of jaggedy edges will point the right direction. If you kind of switch up directions, it's going to look backwards, so you kind of want to pay attention to that. Now I'm not worrying too much about spacing right now. I just want to get these leaves in place, and then I'm going to go back in and add some details with another Arteza product that I have that I'm really excited about. I'm actually really excited about it. They are real brush markers. What that means is they have bristles, and I'm excited to try them out to add some detail lines. Rather than with a paintbrush, I'm going to use them with the markers. And from what it looks like, I was playing around with them a little bit, but it looks like watercolor, which is really kind of impressive if you think about it. Now, if it's easier for you to turn your paper as you go, do that. It might be easier for me to turn my paper, but I don't really have that luxury right now, just because I've got so much stuff on my desk. If I tried to turn the paper, this video would turn into a little bit of a mess. So I'm just working with what I've got right now. Now, ruffled leaves, I use them all the time in compositions. I love them with sunflowers. I use them with hydrangea, with roses, you name it. Ruffled leaves are a really good leaf to have kind of in your back pocket. Now you'll notice that not all of these are perfectly shaped, and that's okay. Just adds a little bit of character if they're not all matchy-matchy and perfect. Now I'm noticing that I have a lot happening down here. I kind of was doubling up on the leaves down here, and then I didn't do that over here. So I'm just going to add in a couple over here so that this bottom part doesn't feel left out. But we'll kind of even it out more when I pull out the markers. Now the markers are really awesome too if you do calligraphy. If you do brush calligraphy, these are going to be awesome for you. Now, Arteza is awesome and has provided a 10% off discount code for you. If you're interested in getting any of the products that I've used today, check out the description down below this video and look for that 10% off discount code. Especially for these markers, they're super fun. Well, so far they're super fun. We'll see if they continue to be fun as I add things in. I'm gonna stop there and then add in some of those details with the markers. So let me just set this aside. I'm kind of done with these. So this again is their premium watercolor half pan set, and 36 colors. It's really good. It's really good for a pan set, especially if you're just beginning and you want a lot of colors to choose from. These are pretty high quality. They're not professional grade, but they're really a good option. Arteza did not tell me to say that. That is my honest opinion. They sent me the 96 pack of these markers. So I've got a lot of colors to choose from, which is really fun and exciting. I mean, look at these. Every shade you can imagine in a marker, which is really fun. So again, if you're interested, check out the description box for that 10% off code. All right. So I'm gonna just kind of set these over here. I know that I'm going to want a green, and I'm gonna go with this kind of olive green. I wonder if it has a color listed on here. Crocodile green, that is what we're going with right here. So with crocodile green, you can kind of see those real bristles in there. And I'm just gonna start in. Oh, that's so fun. And I'm using it just like I would a paintbrush. I can press down and really get those thick and thin lines. This is exactly how I would be adding details if I were using a paintbrush. So this is kind of fun. I know exactly what color I'm getting. It doesn't have all the mess of painting, so if you kind of like that, then go for it. I don't think I want to use this color for every single leaf just because I want to try out a bunch of different colors. So I'm just going to choose a couple here and there so that they're evenly spaced. And then we're going to switch. I really like this for adding details. This is fun. Okay, crocodile green, setting that off to the side. These are some more kind of vibrant greens. I'm going to go in here to these kind of brownish greens. Let's do a couple of these. And I'm also going to choose this kind of reddish brown. Kind of a fan of that reddish brown color. So the brown is called coffee. Then I've got this kind of pale green. It's called pear green. This deeper green, olive green, and green tea. So I'm going to use the green tea first. Now I haven't tested these colors out beforehand. I mean, swatched them out, so I don't know exactly what I'm getting, but they're all green. They're all going to work. I'm not too worried about it. That is so pretty. I love that on top of the watercolor like that. That's really fun. And I love adding a little bit of detail over the top of watercolor. I've also seen some artists, I really want to try this, where they kind of sketch things out beforehand and then they paint color in blocks. They don't paint in every detail, and then they go in with a marker and kind of finish it all off. This is essentially kind of what goes on there, but I want to try that. Looks really fun. Now, I don't know if you can see this, but there's a little bit of bleeding here into the white part of the paper. If you were using a higher quality paper, you would not be getting that bleeding. That is my one complaint about this paper, is that I wish it were at least 140 pound, but I mean, for what it is, it works great. I kind of love that this is a little bit more on the yellow side. That adds a nice little color nuance, which I love. Okay, this one's crocodile green again. We've already used that, so I'm going to move on to olive green. Olive green is really pretty too. It's kind of more of a hunter green. It's a little bit brighter, but it's really, really beautiful. Now for the center here, I'm planning on adding some brush lettering in. Now I've decided, just as I was painting now, that I'm gonna stick with green for on top of the leaves, and then I'll move on to the brown to add some other little details. So this green is called Acid Green. I'm worried that it's going to be really neon, so I'm going to try it out on one of these darker colors so that it's not going to blind anyone who looks at the painting if it ends up being super neon, which it looks like it's not crazy neon, but it is a lot brighter than I think I want to go here. You can see it a little bit better right there. Alrighty, and then this color is Forest Green. Ooh, that's so pretty. This reminds me of Perylene Green from Daniel Smith. It's kind of that same emerald, kind of deep hunter green color. It's so pretty. I want to use this everywhere, so I'm just going to finish this off. See, it's kind of that jewel tone green. Really, really nice. I'm a fan of these jewel tones, if you couldn't tell. I kind of love that these are markers, but they look like I've watercolored that. It's so fun to me. Okay, now we're moving on to that brown. And I'm just going to add in some little sprigs here. And I'm going to use this just like I would a paintbrush. You can see that I get that same kind of range of motion, I guess. And I love, this is kind of silly, but I love being able to rest my whole hand down on the paper. I don't have to worry about if the paint has dried. All right, I'm gonna go in with one more color. Let's see. Let's do something a little more unexpected. I'm gonna do this Parma Gray. It looks a little more bluish periwinkle, so I'm gonna add in a little bit of texture here with this. Oh yeah, that's pretty. Not the usual choice, I just wanted to mix it up a little bit. Now you'll notice if I'm fast with my strokes, I get this kind of, it kind of just glosses over the top of the paper, so you get that kind of white spot, as if you were using a dry brush or something. It's kind of that dry brush look. Now things are a little bit uneven over here. I'm gonna actually go back in with this forest green, yes. So pretty. Anyway, what I was saying is, if you want to kind of help that streaking that's happening, just go slow. If you go slow with these markers, you don't have it quite as bad. How fun is this? I love this. I might not take the entire set because it's kind of a lot, like on a vacation or something with me, but I might take my favorite colors. This would be something really fun to play with, like on a long airplane ride or something like that, where you can kind of bring markers, but you can't bring watercolor. I mean, I guess you probably could bring watercolor. You probably would have a harder time watercoloring on a plane. I would not encourage you to do that. Might be a little tricky. Okay, now let's choose a different color for, I'm gonna just write a word in the center here. We'll use this deep blue. Let's see what color it actually is. It's called denim blue. So with denim blue, I'm going to write something, let's just do hello, something easy right in the center here so we can see how this works with lettering. Same kind of thing, you kind of have to go slow for it to really show up, but that is okay. I'll just go back over the top of a couple of these to darken that up a little bit. So tell me what you think about these products in the comments down below. Let me know if you've ever tried those, and watch for that 10% off if you're interested in purchasing any of these. Thanks again for watching. Bye!